Welcome to Indira Gandhi National Open University. Today's topic is Education for Sustainable Development and Values for Sustainable Development. This topic is part of the course BEDS 001. Myself Dr. G. Uma, faculty in the School of Gender and Development Studies, Indira Gandhi National Open University, New Delhi. Welcome to this session. How can we attain sustainable development? You need to look at the Agenda 21. It has considered education as an effective means of attaining sustainable development, and that the UN has United Nations has declared 2005 to 14 as a decade for education and sustainable development. It has also been said that children not only will inherit the responsibility of looking after the earth, but in many developing countries they compromise nearly half the population, that is mentioned in chapter 25, Agenda 21. Hence, education is the means to address the concerns of children as well as to prepare them to be the architects of sustainable development. This was stated by Bosch in the year 2008. So, thus education for sustainable development is also needed by the youth. I will read excerpts from preamble Agenda 21. Humanity stands at a defining moment in history. We are confronted with the perpetuation of disparities between and within a nation, a worsening of poverty, hunger, ill health and illiteracy, and the continuing deterioration of the ecosystems on which we depend for our well-being. However, integration of environment and development concerns and greater attention to them will lead to a fulfillment of basic needs, improved living standards for all, better protected and managed ecosystems, and a safer, more prosperous future. No nation can achieve this on its own, but together we can in a global partnership for sustainable development. This was excerpt from preamble Agenda 21. Again I will repeat, humanity stands at a defining moment in history. We are confronted with the perpetuation of disparities between and within nations, a worsening of poverty, hunger, ill health and illiteracy, and the continuing deterioration of the ecosystems on which we depend for our well-being. However, integration of environment and development concerns and greater attention to them will lead to a fulfillment of basic needs, improved living standards for all, better protected and managed ecosystems, and a safer, more prosperous future. No nation can achieve this on its own, but together we can in a global partnership for sustainable development. This is from the excerpts from preamble Agenda 21. Here we need to see the recommendation of National Seminar. The two main recommendations of the National Seminar on Environmental Higher Education held at New Delhi from July 30th to 31st in 1981 were as follows, that is mentioned by Bandhu and Aulak. The environment is indivisible, it has no geographical or ideological frontiers, and further it is common to all living organisms, man, animals, women and plants. There is no purely scientific technological solutions to environmental problems and pollution. A human or moral dimension is an essential component to all such solutions. It was also recommended that environmental education should lead to the development of ecological ethics, that is a change in attitude towards man, society and nature. So, education is needed for value development for sustainable development. This we need to understand that earlier the focus was on natural environment and education imparted developed for protecting physical environment, but now there is a wider vision. encompassing both physical and social sustainability, and it encompasses the ethnic and cultural spectrum in all its diversity. So, we need to understand that first we need to enjoy the diversity. Our children should be taught about diversity, not only the diversity among human beings, there is a diversity in ethnic, cultural, there is a cultural diversity with regard to, like for a simple example, you have to see as a country in India, you could see that each region has an unique, each areas, even within a state, you could see that there is a varieties of foods available, and each and every region there is a unique way to prepare certain food. So, these are the food diversity. Like if you further research on the food habits of the certain habits of the people living in a certain area, you could understand that most of their food habits is related to the local availability of the plants, vegetables, fruits and certain food varieties. So, this is, it's like that only. So, as a country like in India, as a country, you could able to see the diversity in food habits. Like that we have a cultural diversity, ethnic diversity. So, one must really enjoy this diversity, and this diversity, the principles of diversity should be inculcated among our children. So, the focus was on the natural environment and education imparted developing for protecting the physical environment, but now there is a wider vision. Earlier we focused more on like protecting the physical environment. Now the vision has been widened. It encompasses both physical and social sustainability, and also we need to teach about the diversity among our children. When we talk about physical and social sustainability, I need to explain here. Social sustainability means the existing research clearly pointed out that people living close to the nature, their life is totally dependent on nature. For example, the women regularly they access the local forest or local farm for their own sustainability or for their own food consumption. In the name of development, or if we started destroying the existing forest areas, we need to understand that will affect the food security of the women. If the food security of the women is get affected, certainly it will affect the food security of the children. So, the social sustainability means we need to inculcate the certain values among children regarding the preserving and protecting and using the forest and other resources and common property resources in a sustainable manner. That is more important. Next one is the sustainability. Thus has, now I have explained in a very elaborate manner regarding sustainability and the significance of protecting the existing environment and using the common property resources and natural resources in a sustainable manner. Sustainability thus has a physical, material, ecological, social, cultural, psychological and ethical dimension, and it is through education that we can preserve and continue this. So, it is like it's a wider concept. When we talk about the sustainability, it encompasses physical, material, ecological, social, cultural, psychological and ethical dimension. It is through the education we can preserve and continue this. UNICEF advocates primary environmental care, a community based approach to meeting basic needs through the empowerment of local communities while ensuring protection and optimum utilization of natural resources within the community. Many studies, like existing study clearly pointed out that it is not that women and local community are destructing the forest, it is where the forest got destructed due to the massive economic activities, and we destruct the forest for agricultural purposes. So, UNICEF clearly advocated that the community people, it is their responsibility, and already they are doing, and they are using the existing natural resources in a very sustainable manner. So, UNICEF advocates that primary environmental care should be come from the community. So, children are part of the community like the elders. If we started inculcating the community based approach among the children, then it is easy to protect and preserve the natural resources, that and they can also use the natural resources in a very optimal manner. So, there is a basic needs for the human beings. These basic needs, always the human beings are depend upon the natural resources, like basic needs like a food, clothing and water, and for example for cooking they depend on the forest for fuel and other like women, they go to forest and daily they collect the fuel wood for cooking the purposes. So, the basic needs, the local community, they depend upon the forest. So, they know, the women and others, they knew how best they can use the natural resources in a sustainable manner. So, the UNICEF clearly advocates that primary environmental care should be come from the community people. So, a community based approach to meeting basic needs through the empowerment of local communities while ensuring the protection and optimal utilization of natural resources within the community. It has been further stated that environmental education should be promoted to encourage the active participation of women and children to enhance their life skills and adaptability and to enable them to attain sustainable livelihood. The Brundtland Commission report published in the 1987 announced a strategy that would simultaneously offer development, eradication of poverty and also rescue Earth from its perilous path of degradation, that is the World Commission on Environment and Development 1987. Earlier, the environment movement had focused only on the nature and conservation of resources without referring to development, that is the poverty reduction. I will repeat, the Brundtland Commission in the year 1987 announced a strategy that would simultaneously offer development, eradication of poverty and also rescue Earth from its perilous path of degradation, that is the World Commission on Environment Development 1987 report. Earlier, the environment movement had focused only on the nature and conservation of resources without referring to development, that is the poverty reduction. The report of the Brundtland Commission led to the United Nations Conference on Environment and Development in Rio de Janeiro in the year 1992 called the Earth Summit. Development as well as the environment were emphasized in this summit. Therefore, the most sound approach to development lies in developing citizenry that understand and cares about management of environment, which one can operate in a highly participatory manner in a democratic community. Education for children needs to transcend the green notion of environment and encompass the natural as well as social components. The kind of environmental education requires children to be involved with the larger community of adults in the improvement and ongoing monitoring of their environment. This was stated by 1997 by the Hart. Again, I will repeat it. Education for children needs to transcend the green notion of environment and encompass the natural as well as social components. The kind of environmental education requires children to be involved with the larger community of adults in improvement and ongoing monitoring of their environment. Values for sustainable development. Here we need to say that the essential condition for sustainable development is the mindset that favors it. Merely possessing knowledge of the factors leading to sustainable development is not enough. More than cognitive needs, the affective needs, that is attitude is important, that is more important. We can give lots and lots of information regarding environment and sustainable to our children, that is the cognitive, that they can learn, and but the affective needs, the attitude is more important. So, we must understand that we need to bring certain changes in the attitude of the children towards environment and sustainable development. The three pillars of sustainable development and the Millennium Development Goals rest on values. Environment and sustainable development basically intends to develop values through education. Values around respect, like for example, what are the values we can inculcate among our children? Respect for others, including those of present and future generation, for differences and diversity, for the environment and for the resources of the planet we inhabit. Education enables us to understand ourselves and others and our links with the wider natural and social environment. Education and sustainable development aims at developing a sense of justice, responsibility, exploration and dialogue, and move us to adopt behaviors and practices which enable all to live a full life without being deprived. Development can be equitable, sustained only when people are empowered as decision makers. We need to develop a society that eliminates marginalization and allows broad-based participation of people in socio-political activities. Will a person opposing differences in views, culture and aspirations make decisions that lead to inclusive growth? We have to ask this question. Will a person opposing differences in views, culture and aspirations make decisions that lead to inclusive growth? No. Only those with an open mind and the ability to think critically can be expected to believe in an inclusive society. Hence, values like tolerance, open-mindedness, rationality and liking are important for eliminating various kinds of marginalization. Teachers are expected to help children in developing values for sustainable development, but values according to some schools of philosophy are eternal, while according to some others are not so. However, as stated by Cates, Paris and Leisenrowitz in the year 2005, although reinterpreted over time, issues like peace, freedom, development and environment remain prominent issues and aspirations. Hence, certain values like love, compassion, respect for others, open-mindedness, justice, peace, rationality, moderation and the like have withstood the test of time and are eternal in nature. Core important values that needs to be inculcated, that needs to be part of the children are peace, democracy, human rights and sustainable development. What are the important aspects related to peace? Means love, compassion, tolerance, caring for others and sharing. Whatever we have, we should share and enjoy our life, living interdependently, empathy towards others, spirituality and gratitude. With regard, these are the set of core values for peace, human rights, democracy and sustainable development and related values that support them. Learning to live together in peace and harmony, a UNESCO AP new source book for teachers education and tertiary level education includes the above mentioned, and I have mentioned the core values and also related values. With regard to human right, we need to talk about truth, respect for human dignity, accountability, acceptance, appreciation of diversity, freedom and responsibility, cooperation, integrity and honesty. With regard to democracy, these are the values one have to inculcate among our children, that is about the respect for law and order, freedom and responsibility, equality, self-discipline, active and responsible citizen, openness, critical thinking and solidarity. With regard to sustainable development, the values we need to inculcate among children are efficiency, future orientation, industry, environmental concern, stewardship of resources, creativity, frugality, simplicity, personal ecology. These are the values we need to inculcate among children. Thank you so much for listening patiently. Thank you.